at our press briefing yesterday, we talked about how today we were going to have a variety of private contractors coming in and assisting the city. And I'm pleased to say that we have exceeded even our wildest dreams from yesterday. And we have people working currently all over the city. Most importantly, perhaps PennDOT has come in and is ready to assist. They're helping us with the snow depositing on City Island that's happening right behind you as we speak. And they are going to be leading the charge up 2nd Street starting at about 1 o'clock. So as soon as we're done here. That snow emergency route from Foster all the way to Division has yet to be cleared very well. We are asking people to move their cars or they will be towed by the Harrisburg Police Department. The snow emergency is still in effect on emergency routes. Get them off. PennDOT will be clearing 2nd Street. That is going to result in some lane closures, maybe some temporary closures of 2nd Street itself, although they're going to try and keep it open, but they're going to go all the way down to Division. This morning, we've had a crew working in Riverside on the north part of Division all morning. That's been the combination of the city and Pensy Supply, which has also brought in additional trucks and crews. They are currently moving from Riverside over to Maclay Street, and Maclay Street is getting done also front to 7th Street. And that is another area where there's going to be towing of cars this afternoon. Overnight, we had Winter Supply, which is another private contracting company, come in. They worked to clear 3rd Street. They got most of 3rd Street cleared in the downtown, and now they are moving up into Midtown, and you will see that. And we have very pleased to announce that we have 2 crews from CRW available today, and they are up in Allison Hill specifically. Let me get this straight, but they are up in up in the Derry to Rudy Road area, and they've got 2 front end loaders and 2 tandems working together in 2 crews. So that's pretty exciting. We also have another private company called M&J Paving, which is down in Shipoke and near the PennDOT building as we speak. And we have our own crews currently out. As I said, they're sort of in 4 locations. One was in the Riverside area working there with Pensy Supply. The second is in the sort of Emerald to Division area. The third is basically 4th to 6th in the Midtown area, and they're also in Allison Hill on 12th and Hanover Streets. So all this is happening. We're also getting from another company which is coming in here soon, Rogel, a couple of backhoes. That's going to be very helpful in Allison Hill and a lot of the narrow alleys. So those are coming this afternoon. Again, exceeding, I think I said we're going to get at least 16 additional plows and 10 more front end loaders, and we've exceeded that number with even more coming this afternoon. So everybody is on full alert. We worked through the night last night. The crews are all out right now. The plan again is to take the snow, transport it here to City Island, where we have, as you can see, 2 or 3 crews already just constantly pushing the snow back and back. You're going to see City Island fill up. We may also be taking cars that we're going to be towing off the snow emergency routes to City Island. I want to say about parking. This is important. There is no ticketing going on in Harrisburg today other than the snow emergency routes. So if you can find a cleared meter, you can park there without a fear of a ticket from standard parking. And those meters do exist, like in 3rd Street. There's also some parking around the Broad Street Market that was pretty clear. There's still parking at the Fire Museum, and there's free parking for residents all day today in the Locust Street garage. So if we can get residents notified and get them to move their cars into Locust Street while we do up and down 2nd, that'll be good. And once the areas have been cleared, people can sort of follow behind and park back on those streets. But it's really a collective effort. It's tremendous. I wanted to note that yesterday, since the briefing, we did have success in cleaning out the 14th Street sinkhole area. There was some concern there by some of the residents. Public Works, our team, did a lot of work there to make sure that everybody had access in and out of the sinkhole area. We also addressed most of Penn Street. There's still a few areas of Penn Street where it's tight, but a lot of areas of Penn Street have been cleared, and we did that very successfully in conjunction with the neighbors and others who were able to move their cars sort of block by block as they went down Penn Street. And that's pretty much the update other than the fact that additional equipment continues to come in, and we will plan to keep all of these contractors, including PennDOT, in place through tomorrow. I'm hoping that we can lift the snow emergency maybe at the end of the day today. Not sure. I'm expecting that that most likely state government will open tomorrow and City Hall will open tomorrow. But we're going to make that call at the end of the day. And I wanted to thank the governor. He went out of his way to take the city's needs into consideration when planning whether or not to keep all the administrative offices open, and he chose not to help the city in its cleanup efforts. And of course, PennDOT has been sent to help the city. So we are very appreciative of state support, and we're getting there. And if people continue to exercise patience and good judgment while driving, we're gonna get there. Okay.
Have all roads been touched now? Everyone?
Not. There are still every major and secondary street has been touched in some manner. There's still some alleys, very narrow alleys in Harrisburg that have not been touched at all. Those alleys really require these backhoes that we're getting later in the day. And in general, those are alleys where people still have access to their homes, through major or secondary streets. So they are the lowest priority. I will say as well, we're trying to get to areas of Bellevue Park. They've gotten an initial pass, but they still need more work. At any rate, that is on the schedule, and we may not be able to get to them until tomorrow. The hotline continues to be up and running for Public Works. They still have a priority list. They have been able to sort of hit that punch list again and again. But there continue to be more priorities than there are the ability to address them right at the moment. Yes.
So it's innumerable to say how many are out there working now, the extra work that you got. You said 16 and 10 was your goal, but do you have any numbers?
But I don't have the total. It's a little hard because we're adding more equipment as we speak, literally. But we definitely exceeded the additional numbers that I said from yesterday, and they're currently all out. So if you take a drive through the city, especially in the areas here, you're gonna see a lot of different crews. And I think I thanked everybody, but Wintermeyer, Graybill, PennDOT, M&J Paving, Pensy Supply, and together with of course our Public Works crew and CRW, that makes for a pretty powerful team really out all through the city. We did have to, a lot of these contractors were engaged for the first 24 hours of the storm. They've only really freed up now. We've got an excellent cooperative strategy plan with PennDOT at the moment, and everybody's on full throttle.
How much is it costing? I'm sorry for this private.
It's a good question. It's gonna be expensive. I don't have those numbers yet. These were contracts procured under the emergency declaration, but there is the possibility that the city is going to be eligible for reimbursement through FEMA because of the magnitude of this disaster. That has not been fully determined yet, but we may be able to get a percentage or even all of those costs back, depending on the sort of total costs and calculations of this storm.
You can give any sort of ballpark though, like per day, what each contractor is charging, or any.
I can try and get that information and get that to you here, this week. But I know that City Engineer Wayne Martin has been the main port of contact for the private companies, and he's been working as hard as he can to get them out.
Did PennDOT step in because they need to open their offices? I mean, they want the state to open?
I think PennDOT is continuing to be a good partner with the city and is trying to help in every way that they can. PennDOT actually asked to use City Island for snow removal, not just in the city of Harrisburg. So we have a cooperation going whereby they're using City Island as the dumping site, but also helping to open up 2nd Street. So I think, yes, of course, there is a need to make sure that the city is accessible and safe, especially when all the state offices open back up.
And I know road opening is a priority, but what about the sight lines at corners? It's sort of dangerous.
Sure. We've got sight lines at corners. That's something where residents might be able to assist. Also, fire hydrants, a major issue. The fire department has been out and about. We're trying to clear all the fire hydrants, keep a sort of 3-foot wide radius around all those hydrants. So things like that can help. There are still plenty of neighbors. Look, we haven't cited anybody for not being able to clear their sidewalk. That's not our concern at the moment. We're not ticketing other than to get people off the snow emergency routes. We're trying to work with the residents, and we understand the magnitude of what's happened here. And I think if everybody continues to work together for another day, we will be in really much better shape tomorrow.
And there is a rule that people can't save their spots with chairs and trash cans, but
That is a rule, and that's true in every city. It's public parking. It's not private parking on streets and roads. That said, there are clearly chairs out, and I understand that people, when they spend an awful lot of time cleaning out their parking spaces, can get frustrated. But that's why we need neighbors to work together cooperatively. And if we can get the plows to really get to the curbs, it's going to make it a lot easier.
And why can't you save a spot? I mean, just verbalize for me.
Because
why
it's a public street, and public streets are owned by everyone. They're not owned by any one individual. So unless you're fortunate to have a garage and a parking space, a public street is owned by everyone.
But are you going to be tough on them, or at this point?
No, we have not been tough on them. A lot of people were asking, even when we had the travel ban, why aren't we stopping everybody and giving them tickets? That's because they have enough to do just trying to ticket the cars that were getting stuck and the people that were doing crazy things. We're using a sort of reasonable test right now. The police are working with Public Works right now to make sure that they are towing and staying in front of the emergency route cleaning. Other than that, there's no towing or ticketing going on in the city. So if you can let people know to remember to get those cars off, especially now 2nd and Maclay and 7th Street, I think is where they're going to go next, immediately, that would be very helpful.
And take advantage of the meter parking is free.
Or the
today.
free parking in the Locust Street garage, or the other places where there are lots available for folks like the Broad Street Market or the Fire Museum.
If FEMA does not come through with funding, is this going to put the city in a pickle?
It probably depends on what happens for the rest of the winter. We hadn't spent anything up to this point, and if it warms up again and this is it, we may be able to handle it with the budget that we have. So it is really too early to tell at this point, but I don't think anyone doubts that we have to do everything we can to get the city open up again during this emergency to make it safe for people to get to work and get to and from their homes. So bringing in the private contractors was absolutely necessary. I will say it is probably an argument for why we need to enhance our neighborhood services, which is what I put forth in the budget. Now, we haven't hired those new positions, but if we had hired those new positions, that would have been another dozen people that could have been out on the streets, and we had new equipment, new dump trucks, new plows, all as a part of that proposal for next year. So I think this is an argument why the city needs to improve its staffing and capital equipment, but that was already proposed in the budget.
Have you had a lot of equipment break down?
We have. We've had at least 3 plows break down, 2 backhoes break down, and we've sort of worked with that. We are dealing with aging equipment now. We're bringing in some of the finest new equipment. You look at some of the equipment that out there now that a lot of the private contractors have. That's been really, really helpful. But the city's own equipment is certainly aging and needs to be upgraded, and we're going to do it. That process already started, and I think again this is an argument for supporting an enhanced neighborhood services budget for the city, which we've already proposed.
And anything else that's really important to tell people as they wait for those alleys and stuff too?
I think that we continue to work as hard as we can, and just ask people to continue to be patient and appreciative of all the hard work. We have at least from the city's workers' standpoint. And now for the private contractors that also work through the night, people are working on very little sleep, constant runs of 12-hour shifts. They're doing everything that they can. You're not being neglected because we're not there yet. It's because they're doing everything that they can to open up the city, and there's a lot of work to be done.